The Galaxy Council had ruled for over 1,000 years, made up of powerful alien empires. They believed they controlled peace and order across the stars. They had crushed rebellions, stopped wars, and punished species who acted out of line. They believed they were above all. For a long time, they were right, but then Earth entered the scene at first. Humans were seen as a small, noisy species on a blue planet. The Council watched them grow, explore space, and build colonies. They laughed when humans landed on their moon. They ignored Earth's first slow ships. But that laughter faded when human technology began to change fast. Within just a few decades, Earth had developed energy weapons, invisible shields, and fast jump drives. They created machines that could think, and ships that moved without fuel. Worse, they did not ask for permission. Humans explored deep space, made alliances with small species, and built silent outposts near Council zones. The Council started to worry, not because of what humans said, but because of what they didn't. Humans did not send threats, did not demand power. They simply kept building. So the Council met in secret chambers, their faces lit by glowing maps of the galaxy. Many were angry. They grow too fast, one of them hissed. They ignore our rules, said another. They build warships without our approval. They all agreed Earth had to be warned. The vote was clear, sent a final message. If humans did not obey, the Council would respond with force. A powerful message was broadcast to every known system. It reached Earth's moon in minutes. The voice of the Council spoke loud and firm to the leaders of Earth. You are growing too quickly and stepping beyond your place. You will stop all further expansion, remove your military bases outside your system, and dismantle your new ships. If not, the Council will take action. You have 7 solar days to reply. For a moment, the galaxy held its breath, but Earth did not reply. No signal came back. No voice, no warning, no peace offering. The leaders of Earth did meet. They gathered underground, away from the public eye. Presidents, generals, scientists, and thinkers from all over the world sat at the same table. They're trying to scare us, one leader said. They want us to act weak, said another. But no one panicked. Instead, they planned. We built everything to protect ourselves, said a scientist. If we give it up now, we're inviting danger. They all agreed. The message was not a request, it was a threat. And Earth had been threatened before. While the Council waited for a reply, something else began to happen. Council outposts that monitored human systems began to go dark, silent, no warning, no distress signals. The satellites watching human ships blinked off one by one. The Council thought it was a glitch. Just technical failure, one commander said. But then they lost a scout ship. The crew had sent a short message before vanishing. We see something. It's not human. It's not like any ship we've ever seen. It's then silence. Within hours, 3 more scout teams disappeared. Fear spread through the Council. They demanded answers. They scanned the stars, checked old records, and looked for signs of war fleets. But there were no battleships, no missile trails, no damage. The outposts were just gone. Still, the Council believed they could control the situation. They sent another message to Earth, this one shorter, colder. You are testing the patience of the Galaxy Council. Respond now. Again, Earth stayed silent. Across the stars, small species began to whisper. They had heard of Earth's strange science. They had heard rumors of humans creating something different, something not powered by engines or energy, but by something unknown. Some called it a myth. Others called it a mistake. But no one had seen it yet. Yet now, things were disappearing. Council leaders gathered once again. Their voices shook. What if it's not a glitch? What if they sent something? Whispered another. Still, the head of the Council stood firm. They are just humans. They do not scare us. And with that, he turned off the lights in the chamber and said, if they do not answer by tomorrow, we will erase their homeworld. But they never got the chance. The next day, the Galaxy Council waited for Earth's reply, but none came. The silence was not peaceful. It felt heavy. Strange, a council guard noticed something unusual. The early warning system that scanned deep space was picking up strange signals, not like enemy fleets or missiles. It was something else. The data was scrambled, like the space around the council's systems was being bent or shaken. But there was no sound, no explosion, just missing stars. More outposts went. Dark. Not destroyed. Just gone. Satellites disappeared from maps. Stations vanished mid-sentence. One council commander tried to call back a patrol ship, but the line went dead before the captain could speak. The screen only showed static and then turned black. Panic started to spread. "This isn't possible," one of the leaders said. "We control this part of the galaxy. Nothing moves without our eyes on it." But something was moving. Something big. On the far edge of council space, a research team managed to capture a blurry image before being lost. It showed a dark shape, massive, silent, floating just above. The stars, it didn't match any known ship or station. It looked like it wasn't even built. It had no seams, no engines, and no lights. Some thought it might be a natural object, like a giant asteroid, but it moved too perfectly. The council quickly gathered all high commanders and scientists. They reviewed the image, but no one could explain it. What kind of ship has no heat, no signal, and no engines? How did it get past our sensors? Who controls it? No one had answers. And then someone noticed something even more strange. Carved into a dead moon near the council's outer defense zone was a massive symbol, human letters. Clear and sharp, burned into the surface. The message said only, "We heard you." Fear finally crept into the council chamber. "They're not responding with words," one elder said. "They're responding with silence." Another added, "Across the galaxy." Many smaller species had already started to move their colonies away. From council space, it'd seen what happened to those who ignored Earth's warning in the past. Some remembered stories of what humans had done to ancient pirate lords, or how they had erased a biowar virus from a rogue planet in under a minute. Humans didn't bluff, they acted. The council still refused to believe that humans were behind. We would have seen it coming, one of them argued. No ship can move that fast without leaving a trace. Nothing can erase data from our mainframe. That's impossible. But it had already happened. The council sent scouts to investigate the moon with the message. The ships never arrived. Instead, sensors reported that a space-time distortion had opened near the path they were traveling. Something moved within that distortion. Some claimed it was alive. Others believed it was artificial. And then came the whisper. A quiet voice was heard through every council ship and command center. No signal was detected, no transmission logs recorded. But every officer and leader heard the same calm, human voice say, "The Galaxy Council threatened Earth." You were heard. Action has begun. It lasted only 3 seconds. But it played everywhere at once. The galaxy stopped. No one had ever hacked council systems before, not without being caught. This time, nothing was traced. There was no point of origin. The voice simply appeared. After that, the Galaxy Council's leaders tried to act. They ordered all ships to return. They raised shields, activated defense grids, and locked down every planet in their zone. But something strange began to happen. The shields failed. Not because of an attack, but because they didn't recognize what to block. The sensors couldn't detect what was coming. Battleships began to float powerless. Computers shut down for no reason. Memory cores turned blank. It was like the systems themselves forgot how to work. The dark shape, now known as the Unknown, moved deeper into council space. But no one saw it move. It just appeared closer. It's faster than thought. A high-ranking council officer broke rank and sent a final signal to Earth. "Please, we didn't mean harm. We were only trying to guide your people." But no reply came. Instead, more messages began to appear, not spoken, not sent. Just shown in walls, screens, floors, even the skies of council worlds. Earth will not be threatened. This is not war. This is removal. The meaning was clear. Earth was not asking for peace, was not starting a war. It was cleaning the galaxy of threats, without weapons, without ships. without mercy. The Council's most powerful planet, the Command World, tried to broadcast a last message to the galaxy. Earth has gone too far. They must be stopped. But before the sentence finished, the entire planet blinked out. Not exploded, not destroyed, erased like it was never there. And then, silence. The command planet of the Galaxy Council was gone. Not a trace was left. No smoke, no debris, no signs of battle. It had vanished like it never existed. One moment, it was there full of leaders, guards, towers, and ships. The next, it was nothing. A hole in space where a world used to be. The rest of the council's members were frozen in fear. No one dared to speak. Some believed it was a dream or a trick, but the data didn't lie. Ships sent to check the location found nothing. Even the gravity was gone. The system had been erased completely. The few remaining council leaders met in a hidden station. Their faces were pale, their voices low. For the first time in history, they did not argue. They all knew the truth. Now this was not something they could control. "We pushed them too far," whispered one leader. "We forgot who they are," said another. Many remembered now how Earth had earned its nickname among the stars. Silent fire. Humans didn't shout. They didn't boast. They warned once, then acted without sound. Still, some members wanted to send another message to Earth. They believed maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late. "We have to ask for peace." One said, "We have to surrender." Another said quickly, but no one knew how. The systems were broken. Every channel to Earth was silent. Human communication. Links were gone. Even their old embassies had shut down. Earth had cut off all contact and now they were acting then. Something appeared on the galaxy's master data grid. A single symbol. Not text, not a voice. Just an old Earth logo. It was the emblem of the Earth Defense Command. It slowly rotated across every screen in the galaxy. The message was clear. Earth was not responding with words, it was responding with presence. The smaller alien races across, the stars began to panic, closed their borders, shut down stations, and tried to move away from Council space. Many knew they had stayed silent when the Council gave the threat to Earth. Now, they were afraid Earth would see them as part of the problem. But Earth wasn't targeting them. Only the Council, the unknown object still, never clearly seen, was moving again, or at least its effect was. One by one, more Council systems lost power, not in a normal way. Lights still worked. Air was still there. Memories were gone. The systems forgot who they were connected to. Command networks lost their leaders. Defense programs forgot how to fire. Star maps turned blank. Scientists tried to explain it, but they couldn't. The only answer anyone gave was whispered, "It's not just removing us, it's unwriting us." One of the last council commanders, a battle-hardened warrior from a species known for its strength, stood before his officers. "We must attack now," he said. But when he reached for the fire controls of his ship, the console disappeared. Not broken, just erased from existence. He looked at his hands. The screen under his fingers was now smooth metal, and then his ship disappeared. No flash, no warning, just gone. Other commanders tried to escape, flying deep into dark space. Made it to the outer edges of the galaxy, but even there they saw strange things. Space around them bent. Stars seemed to blink in and out. And then, silence. Some species tried to protect their council allies. They sent fleets to form a wall between Earth and what was left of the council. But their ships began to fail before reaching the target. Machines stopped working. Captains forgot their missions. Whole crews became confused, able to speak or remember why they were there. It wasn't just fear, it was something deeper, something touching the mind. Earth's action wasn't just physical. It was reaching into the systems, the memories, the history of the galaxy and changing it soon. Even the word council began to fade from databases. Translation programs returned no result. Ship's logs no longer showed the names of council leaders. Ancient texts glitched and rewrote themselves, as if the universe itself was deleting them. One species, known for their wisdom and study, tried to record the events. They wrote everything down in stone, far from technology. They wanted to remember, but when they woke the next morning, the stones were blank. They stared at each other in silence. No one said the word council, not because they were scared, but because they couldn't remember what it meant. Back on Earth, there was peace. The skies were calm. Children played in parks. People went to work. The news didn't talk about war or space. No broadcasts warned of threats. The world had chosen silence, because silence was enough. The leaders of Earth sat quietly in a dark room, watching space through long-range sensors. No one smiled. No one celebrated. They simply nodded, and the screen showed a single word: done. The galaxy was quiet, not the calm kind, but the kind that made even machines feel cold. Across thousands of stars, alien races looked at empty space where the council used to be. They saw blank areas in their records, questions with no answers, and names that no one could remember anymore. It wasn't just that the Galaxy Council was gone. It was like they had never been there at all. Entire systems had changed. Planets once ruled by council laws now had no central leadership. Fleets once marked with council colors now showed no signs of who built them. Ships floated without purpose. Their crews sat inside, confused, unsure of what their mission had ever been. On one moon, a young alien pilot stood near a giant stone monument. He looked at the blank surface and frowned. "This used to say something," he whispered. "I think. A name." Ace stared, shaking his head. "It's just a stone." Neither could explain the heavy feeling in their chest. They didn't know why they felt like something was missing, but they felt it. The fear didn't come from fire or explosions. It came from silence, from forgetting. And somewhere deep inside, they knew it had to do with Earth. In the hidden corners of space, some species still remembered. Just a few. Had old records saved in physical form, handwritten, carved, or painted. The only reason they still remembered the council was because their minds had not let go. They whispered to each other in secret. Earth did this. Warned the council. They only acted after the threat. But they dared not speak too loud. They didn't want to be noticed, because even now no one knew how Earth had done it. No weapons had been seen. No fleets, no soldiers, no viruses. No beams, just something unknown, something quiet. Theories began to grow. Some believed Earth had created a machine that didn't fight, it rewrote reality. Others said Earth had built something alive, something from deep space, something that obeyed only them. A few even believed it was not technology at all, but the human mind itself evolved into something that no longer needed words to defend itself. Whatever it was, it left no damage. Only silence. On one quiet research station near the edge of the galaxy, a team of alien scientists gathered around. A broken star map. It now showed a blank area where the council's space used to be. No stars, no planets, just white space. One scientist whispered, "We are looking at a place that no longer exists." "How?" another asked. A voice came from the back of the room. It was an old alien, blind in both eyes, who had lived during the early days of the council. His voice cracked. "Because Earth did not destroy," he said, "they removed." The team stared. "Removed what?" "Removed the threat," the elder replied, "and then removed the memory of the threat." One young researcher stepped back. "So why do we remember it all?" "Maybe because Earth wants us to," the elder said. "Maybe because silence is their message." Meanwhile, back on Earth, a group of children played in the grass near a hill. They'd never heard of the council. They didn't know about fleets or warnings or silence. They just played, laughed, and ran under the blue sky. A teacher watched. Then, with a soft smile, beside her stood an old general. His face was tired but peaceful. "They'll never know, will they?" she asked. He shook his head slowly. "They don't need to." "Do you think it'll happen again?" "No one's that foolish anymore," he said. In a deep underground command room, far below the surface of the Earth, screens glowed softly. They showed peaceful stars, empty systems, and clean space. Nothing moved. No threats. No warnings. No broadcasts from other species. Just peace. In the center of the room stood a tall glass box. Inside, it was nothing. No lights, no machine, no shape. Just a strange shimmer in the air, like the space inside the box wasn't fully there. Next to it, a woman in a white coat stood holding a small tablet. She tapped it once and the shimmer faded. A voice behind her asked, "Is it resting?" She nodded. "It listens," she said softly. "Always listens. And obeys." "Only Earth," she replied. The man stepped closer, looking at the empty box. "Do you think it understands what it's doing?" The woman paused. "I don't know if it understands," she said. "I just know it remembers every threat." Looked away, then said the words everyone in the room already knew by heart. Earth does not attack. Earth removes. And then, without speaking again, they turned off the lights. Stars shined quietly over the galaxy. The war drums had stopped. No messages flew across space. No ships lined up in battle formation. The Galaxy Council, once proud and loud, was now only a memory, if anyone even remembered it at all. But not. Everyone forgot. Far on the edge of known space, a small group of alien survivors met in secret. They were from different species, once tied to the Council. They had escaped before their homeworlds vanished. They remembered the warnings, the vote, the threat sent to Earth. Now they feared what might come next. "We should warn others," one of them said. "Tell them what happened?" "And say what?" another replied. "That we dared to threaten Earth and were erased." "We didn't fire a shot," the third whispered. "We just sent a message." The room grew silent because they all knew it wasn't about weapons. It was about intent. Earth hadn't waited for missiles. They had acted at the threat alone. The result wasn't war, it was something greater, something no one had words for. Not destruction. Not violence. Something final. "We're lucky to be alive." One of them finally said. They all nodded. On another planet, far from Earth, a young alien historian began to collect whispers. She searched for old star maps, broken data chips, ancient journals. She had heard rumors of a lost power that once ruled many systems. Every time she came close to finding a real name, the files erased themselves. Even her own writing disappeared by morning, but she kept trying one day. While walking in the ruins of an old space station, she found something carved into the metal. While it was nearly faded, scratched by time and dust, but she could still read it. It said, "Earth heard." She stared at it for a long time. When she showed it to others, it was gone again. But she still remembered meanwhile, back on Earth. Life moved forward. Cities glowed with peace. People built new things, explored distant stars, helped nearby species grow. Earth didn't speak of what happened. They didn't send warnings or boast. They didn't demand anything. They just watched, in a large chamber. Under the surface, leaders met once more. Not generals, not politicians, just guardians. Men and women who had protected Earth without ever being known. A quiet man in uniform stepped to the center of the room. "The galaxy has learned," said. Others nodded. "We will not be challenged again," he added. Not out of fear, but out of memory. A woman beside him looked at a small screen. It showed peaceful systems, trade routes, and growing colonies. She smiled. "We chose silence," she said. And silence worked. But one old scientist looked thoughtful. "Not everyone will stay quiet forever," he warned. "Someday someone might rise again. Maybe not to threaten, but to test." The others turned to him. "What then?" Someone asked. He simply pointed toward a sealed vault door at the far end of the chamber. Behind that door, there was no weapon, no computer, no army, only the presence, the thing that had erased the Council. No one truly knew what it was. Some called it a construct. Others called it a thought. It had no name, no form. It listened, it remembered, and it acted. But only when Earth was in danger. and only when Earth gave the signal. "We don't need to use it again," said the quiet man. "Not unless the galaxy forgets what it means to send threats." And so they let it rest. Outside, children played near glowing fountains. Students studied stars and explored distant worlds through virtual telescopes. Young minds reached toward the future not out of fear. Curiosity Earth had become something rare. Not a ruler, not a monster, just a warning written in silence and across the galaxy. That silence spoke louder than any fleet. On thousands of worlds, old beings whispered to their children before bed, "Never speak of war to Earth. Never raise a hand toward that blue planet, because they don't speak back. They just remove." Now, the children didn't understand. Not yet, but they would. In time, the galaxy would forget the details, the names, the vote, the warnings. The council would vanish from records and minds. Only stories would remain, quiet ones, soft ones, like the stars blinking in the sky. And in the center of it all, Earth would remain calm, watchful, untouched. Because once, long ago, the galaxy dared to threaten Earth, and in minutes, they learned why that was the last mistake they would ever make.